Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Today in Quarantine. I'm your host, Renee Cross, coming to you live from Lincoln, Nebraska, where the corn is just about knee-high. Just kidding. There's no corn here in the city, so I have no idea what the corn is doing at all right now. So today is episode 88. If you missed yesterday's episode 87, it's because it did not happen on YouTube. It did happen on Facebook. However, Pastor Gua did do the episode on Facebook. I just didn't have the capacity to stream it to YouTube, and neither did she at the time. I was involved in a meeting, and it was mostly focused around reopening. So I can't really share anything from that, but just know that things are going to start getting back to being open. Yesterday, I actually realized, and I looked it up, China is now in the beginnings of what looks like a second wave for them of coronavirus. And it started out in Beijing, and I think it began, I think there was about 100 or something cases in Beijing. And hopefully if they can contain it, then it'll be all good. And if not, well, that would be catastrophic for not only China, but kind of the rest of the world as well. Maybe we can learn from that. I don't know. It's very, very interesting to see how this all plays out and develops. However, Lincoln Public Schools, the organization I used to work for, did come out with a plan to reopen. And it's essentially the city of Lincoln has a dial that just kind of tells us where we are in terms of virus spreadability. I don't remember the exact terms, but there's 4 zones. There's like the red zone, which is high danger, the yellow zone, which is low danger, and orange zone, which is lower but still pretty high danger, yellow zone, which is moderate danger, and green zone, which is low to little chance of passing on the coronavirus. And based on where the city is in each one of those zones, is how they'll reopen. So I'm kind of assuming that many of the schools in Lincoln will take after that initiative as well. So we'll really see what happens. There's a lot of different people, different planning, different things, seeing like what is going to really go into reopening. There's a lot of people who are like, just reopen. Yeah, but, there's all these what ifs, what if we're responsible for the death of somebody, or that somebody gets the virus, or kids can't get the virus, but kids can transfer the virus to other people, or can't get the virus. There have been some cases of children getting the virus, but they're more immune to it. So it's like, how do they can carry the virus to somebody else who is more susceptible to get it, somebody with weaker lungs or some other immunocompromised situation. So it's like, it's so tricky, so tricky. And on one hand, you really want to do what's best for health-wise, and on the other hand, you also face a population who demands that we reopen as soon as possible. Because we cannot live with our individual freedoms, or without our individual freedoms, for a little bit. Freedom is a tricky thing. It sounds very simple, doesn't it? We live in a free country. We can do what we'd like to do. But I think we have to keep clarifying these things. And that's why we have organizations like the Supreme Court and Congress and the law and stuff like that to clarify what these freedoms are. For example, 100 years ago, you were not free, as I would not be free as a Black person, a person of color. I could not go and vote 100 years ago, even though about 100 years ago, a woman got the right to vote about 100 years ago, but still, Black women weren't included in those numbers. So that freedom wasn't extend it to everybody. And so as time goes on, we keep extending or trying to extend those freedoms to people, and people get mad at the freedoms be extended to a certain amount of people, a certain number of people. But that's a conversation for a different day. Yeah. So today in quarantine, what have I done today in quarantine? Today and yesterday in quarantine, just kind of hung out. It's been quiet. Yesterday, recorded some stuff for the service on Sabbath for College View Church with the new worship pastor, whose name is Sullivan Dutra. He's a pretty great guy, pretty great pianist. Really excited to work with him as time goes on. And it's interesting because I'm not sure if they're going to be playing this recording of us singing they're going to be using it for the online service, but are we going to use it for the worship service? Are people just going to sit there and watch us sing because they can't sing along with us? I don't know. It's kind of a weird concept. Who really knows, truly? But it's definitely going to be interesting. Yeah. To see what happens with that. But yeah. Very this is a very good like singing together and like, you know, playing around and seeing what everybody's like, singing together. I met some people, which is cool. Just trying to figure out what community is as COVID goes on. Where have you found your community as COVID has gone on now for 3 months? Where are you finding your community? How is that community affecting you? What ways would you like to see community either in COVID or out of COVID? Let me know in the chat. My mom says free without infringing upon the rights of others. Now that's tricky, and that's true. It's hard to say, hey, you're free to do this, while saying, hey, you're not free to do this. And it's like, is that really freedom? A lot of times we think that freedom is like, I can do whatever I want, but no, it's not. And that's okay. I think that's how freedom should be. That's just my personal opinion, but you are free to do what you would like to do within these rules. So Andrew says, I've been talking and hanging out with a couple of my coworkers more. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to getting to know my community at my new school and just kind of hanging out with them, especially. So if you're actually here in the Lincoln area and you're watching this, tonight at CVC at 6 o'clock, there is a concert. It's with like a kids group, but there's food that's being offered. So you should come down and get some food, Blazer Burgers, which I didn't have a Blazer Burger. So the College View Church Pathfinder Club makes their own special types of burgers. And I had always heard about them all my time going to Union College, and I did not have one until about a year ago. And it is actually fantastic. It's a great burger. Like, who would have thought? So, yeah. Andrew says they also went to some protests together. Nice. All right. Yeah, getting to know each other in and out of context is pretty cool. I really like the idea of getting to know people in one context and then bringing them to another context so that you're not only involved with a person in one singular context. Does that make any sense? Like, for example, when I worked in LPS, sometimes, especially since I was transferring between buildings, but it was hard to be like, oh, these are my friends at this school. These are my friends at this school. But outside of all schools, do we really hang out? Not really. So yeah. Hey, Blazer Burger. I'm not really sure what's in it, but it's a veggie burger. So it's like vegetables and probably like walnuts and an egg to bind it all together or something. It's really good. Love it. So yeah. All right. Well, today in Lincoln, it is about, I had to say, probably 88, 89 degrees. It's a beautiful day, though. The The wind is just right. It's a little humid, but not much. I actually recorded a song earlier on my guitar. The really cool thing, if you play the guitar, is you take your phone and you put it inside the guitar, and you face the camera towards the sky, well, towards the strings in the sky, and then you can get like a video of like the strings vibrating, which is a little trick that I learned from Isa. So thank you, Isa. I appreciate you and your helpful suggestion, because that video looks pretty cool. Alrighty, so it is now time for the segment where I attempt to tell corny jokes that I haven't heard before. So, or that you haven't heard before either. What will they be today? The world doesn't know yet, but we're about to find out. A cheetah and a lion are racing. The cheetah wins. And the man says, man, or the lion says, man, you're a cheetah. And the cheetah says, nah, man, you're a lion. Oh boy, that's okay. This was actually kind of funny. I took my car to the mechanic because it was making a terrible noise, and he removed the Mariah Carey Christmas CD, and now it's fine. Oh man. What do lawyers wear to work? A lawsuit. What rock group has 4 guys who don't sing? Mount Rushmore. True that. True story. True story. Oh boy. Okay. I got a new job today at the Guillotine Factory, and I'll be heading there shortly. Boy. Crack myself up sometimes. Well, the internet cracks me up, to be honest. Thank you guys for joining me today on Today in Quarantine, and I hope to see you tomorrow in quarantine for another episode of Today in Quarantine. Got any theme suggestions? Think ways to freshen up and liven up the show? Let me know by sending me a text or a Facebook message or something like that. And we'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Have a great day.